So if you are not already subscribed and watching Jessica Braun, also known as Jam Beauty back in the day, then you are one of the few people that don't. I will put her channel in the description box and wherever on this screen, but I am a loyal follower, and she recently, in January, did a video on her, like she made her own palette, like her dream palette, and then sent out the challenge to all of us to do the same. So I did. And as I was doing this, I realized that at least in single shadow form, my perfect dream palette does not exist. But this is as good as it's going to get, and my dream collaboration is still to make my own 6 to 9 shade palette. That's never going to happen, but that would be really fun because I realized the exact colors that I want do not exist in a single palette form. So maybe a follow-up to this would be if I could pick a color from this palette and a color from this palette. But I really like this concept of picking single shades because then I can put it in a Z palette, or you'll see what I put it in this case, and then I can take it with me to travel, and it's kind of handy. Or if I'm in a rush and I just want to grab something, that's the palette I grab for instead of having to reach for all these different shades. So, and I don't want to destroy existing palettes and rip them in little pieces. So what I did was revisited an oldie but a goodie. When I first started YouTube, this was the brand everybody talked about. Everybody had their dream palette made from this, and it was MAC Cosmetics. And I was looking around and I realized that it's a classic and stands the test of time because they do make amazing shadows. So I went to MAC, the MAC store by me, and I kind of sort of cheated because Jessica did 6, I picked 9. I'll do the look with the 6, but I did have room, so I added 3 more. I should just say that what I will probably end up doing is going back to the MAC store or just order online because it's easier and then I don't have to drive out to the mall. This is their small square palette, and obviously I picked the insert that has pans for 9 singles, but they also had one that had pans for 6 singles and then 2 larger ones, like a highlighter and a blush, or maybe 2 blushes. And I think that is a brilliant idea for travel. I have a bronzer I like to use, and I have a separate highlighter, or 2 or 10, that I will bring along. But to have 2 blushes and 6 shadows, good to, that's going to be the next video. But anyway, not the next one, but the next project. So I picked my 6, and as you can see, this is like, some would say boring. I say this is my dream. I like boring. It's very neutral, a teeny bit on the warm side, but not 100%. And 7 out of the 9 are MAC shadows. So let's get started. I have all my face makeup on, and I had eye makeup on. I took it off to film this video. Very long intro. Let's get started. First with this guy right here. This is Brulee. This is, I think, still a favorite for many, with good reason. It's just the perfect, I don't know if it's a satin, matte. I never even really looked, but I'm just going to put that kind of all over the eye to start. I don't always do that, but because I just took Bioderma to my face, I kind of want to add a little layer of protection here. Normally I would already have like a little foundation or concealer on, so this just kind of evens things out. You may have noticed my lashes are a little longer than normal. I did get extensions put in. I am partnering with the Lash Lounge. They gave me a set and are going to give me refills for about 3 months, and I will report back to you and let you know how things are going. On Instagram is where that's happening. So if you're not following me there, please do so. So as of filming this, I've had them on for about 48 hours. So I really don't have an opinion on them just yet. Still getting used to them. Okay, so that's Brulee. We will revisit that. Let's lay down something in the crease. So with that, I'm going to just move right down to this one. And this is Soba. I picked this one because depending on the kind of brush, I can shear it out. I can get it a little more pigmented. So I'm just using an E40 from Sigma. And I'm just going to lay that in the crease. One of the things I'm getting used to is these suckers are in the way. It's fine for the crease work, but when I get down to try to put on eyeliner, I'm still not sure how I feel about that yet. I do like how they look. And I like how they feel because I can't feel them at all. So I'm just lightly going back and forth and laying down Soba. And then I'm going to grab a pencil brush. This is a Zoeva Luxe pencil. and run that underneath the eye. We'll get back to the crease in a minute. I'm gonna hop into the middle of the palette. This one right here is one of the few shades that is not from MAC. This is an Anastasia Beverly Hills single. It is in the shade Vermeer, and this was a shade I'm having a lot of issues with. I want a very champagne-y, neutral, shimmer metallic shade for my lid, and MAC doesn't make one, actually. And Vermeer is pretty close. I had my eye on Gleam, actually, and it's sold out everywhere. So this is a little cooler than I would like, a little lighter than my perfect shade, but it will work. MAC used to have Grain. Apparently that's discontinued. That would have been a good one. I'm still on the hunt. This is pretty good though. I mean, it's beautiful. That is with the brush, but I could also just pack it on with my finger. Get a little more. It's really pretty. I like how that's just a very nice light look. Now we're gonna do some outer corner. So I think I'm going to go back to my original. So remember, if you're following along, this is Brulee, this is Soba, and now this one is a Makeup Geek one. I hope it's still around. This one's called Mocha, and it is a matte brown. Pretty neutral. I'm just gonna stamp that in the outer corner. What I like about this one is it's actually pretty dark when you swatch it, but I can build it up because this can get dark fast. See, look at, so we don't want that. And I am bringing it up a little higher because I realized that this little fat pad here is getting fatter, and to make it recess, I want to put darker colors on it. So I'm bringing up that darker color a little higher up and pulling that into the socket line. I should mention I'm doing this with a Sigma E25. I put the light shimmer color on the lid with, of course, MAC 239, pretty much the only flat shader brush I regularly use. And what's left on my brush, I'm just gonna kind of run underneath just a little bit just to tie it all in. Back to my little dream palette. So to add a little, I like adding a little deeper shimmer to my outer corner. Obviously not gonna pull it as high up because I wanna keep that fat pad recessed. And so that's where this one looks pretty light in the pan. This is Tempting by MAC. Well, it looks pretty light on my finger too. But on my skin, it gets pretty dark. So I'm just going to take, I could take the, you know what, let's just take the E25. We're gonna go back with the E25 and just add a little shimmer to the outer corner, because that is how I like to do my eyes. Now I need an inner corner, and for that we go back to the top, and this is one I haven't talked about yet. This is MAC Nylon, an oldie but a goodie, as are they all, I guess. And I really could have just brought Vermeer in to that outer corner. I didn't need this extra one, but it's a little bit brighter, just a little. So now hopefully I'm looking awake. And then just to make sure everything's kind of blended out, I'm just gonna go back into Brulee with kind of a fluffy brush and just kind of go around the edges a little bit. I can line my lids with Mocha, so I'm gonna do that. Did I say line my lids? Line my eyes, which is actually easier to do right now than to try to do eyeliner, because I'm still getting used to having very long lashes. And for this, I'm using a Luxie brush. I don't know what it's called. Let's see. Luxie Flat Definer. Well, that's easy enough. And I just think this is a really soft, easy, wearable little combination here. And I can play with it. I can take Tempting and put it all over the lid and smoke it out with Soba a little bit. But if I want to, since I had space for 3 more, I did add 3 more. So at the top here is Corduroy. And Corduroy is, again, it's matte. It's a little deeper than Mocha, totally unnecessary. Then in the middle here, I have Sable. I'm running out of fingers. Sable is a little more I'd say there's almost like a purplish undertone to this one. It's a little more purple than Tempting. I'll put them right next to each other. There is Sable and Tempting. I am covered. And then lastly is Cork, which is another a little less, it's not quite as deep, obviously, as Mocha. And I could use that in the outer corner, or I could do this all over the lid and then pop Vermeer right in the center for a little pop of color. I just think this is a really fun palette. Let me show you all of them swatched in a row on my arm. Starting all the way from the left, you can't even see it, is Brulee, because it's the color of my skin. Next to that is Soba, and then to the right of that, that darker brown, is Mocha from Makeup Geek. Then the middle, you'll see some shimmers. The first one, that icy one, is Nylon. And then we have a little pink tone to it is Vermeer. And then the deeper shimmery one is Tempting. Then the last three shades, you can see I'm running out of room on my arm, is Corduroy, is that deep brown. And then Sable, I think it's just one of the prettiest shades MAC makes. And then finally Cork, which is very similar to Soba, I know, but it can be built up and made a lot deeper than Soba, so I feel it adds a little more versatility to the palette. So that's my dream palette. It's very neutral. It's very brown and tan with a little bit of shimmer. I'm still looking for that perfect lid color. I'm open to suggestions. I just know that if I'm in a hurry, if I had to get dressed in 10 minutes or less, and this is what I would grab. I can get actually quite a few looks depending on where I place the shadows on my eye from this. So there you have it. There is my almost perfect palette, my almost dream palette. It's pretty close. It's gonna work for a while. I think it's a really pretty, easy, neutral palette. I would love to hear what your dream team looks like. Whether or not you make a YouTube video, you can list it in the comments below. If you're watching this, go ahead and make a video, tag me, tag Jessica, because she's the one that created this and I'm sure she would love to see it. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to read what your suggestions are, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.